I thought I would give you a little bit of perspective because I sit in a fairly unique position. I grew up on the asset management side, but for the last several years, I've sat on the board of Athene and Athora, and as part of my duties, I've really deep dive into our retirement services platform. So, I can give you a sense of what you should be thinking about as you look at this acquisition. So first off, retirement services is a growing business, just like all our other businesses. We've tripled the business, or more than tripled the business, over the last 3 years, and intend to double it over the next 5. You'll hear about our organic channels, our inorganic channels. Again, I think you're going to come away from this presentation thinking we're massively underestimating the scale of where we can take this business. Secondly, what is retirement services, right? We've been talking about it. Other people talk about it. We define it in a very specific way. It's a spread business generating investment income for retirees, right? It's a simple, stable, predictable way to generate spread-related earnings. What it's not are complex liabilities like variable annuities, long-term care, traditional life insurance with all the associated mortality and other risks. Ultimately, this is a simple spread lending business. And this business raises capital in a very similar way to Apollo, right? Apollo accesses the institutional markets for capital. So does retirement services through pension group annuities and inorganic transactions. Apollo accesses the retail market to sell product. So does retirement services through its retail annuities and flow reinsurance business. And Apollo accesses the capital markets for capital solutions and syndications. And so does this business through funding agreements. Ultimately, this is just an asset management business in another format. So what's the key, right? The key to success, you've heard it all morning. The key to success is the ability to generate safe, predictable, recurring yield, right? That's why we're so maniacally focused on direct origination, right? You heard it from Mark, you heard it from Chris, you heard it from Jim. This is the key to success. And because Athene's balance sheet is 95% investment grade, right? We don't need huge outperformance to be successful, right? You can see it up here, 30 to 40 basis points of outperformance on the asset gives us the ROE we need to go from mediocre to best in class. With the power of our yield platform, this is a stable, predictable, and profitable business. Okay, so I've established that we've built like a great platform here. Where are we going with this, right? And this is the exciting part, right? Today, we serve the retirement service business in North America through Athene, in Europe through Athora. We've talked about moving into Asia and Pacific with our Challenger investment in Australia, our FWD investment in Hong Kong, our reinsurance partnerships in Japan. But for all of that, we're still just a drop in the bucket. This is a huge addressable market. We represent less than 2% of the market. And oh, by the way, Europe and Asia, massively fragmented, massively. We intend to show the same type of leadership we've shown in the US in those markets. Secular tailwinds help as well, right? Billions of people becoming retirees over the coming years. No ability to find yield in the public markets, right? This should be a bonanza for retirement service products, right? But what's happening in the industry? What's happening is that traditional insurers are getting out of the market. Why are they getting out of the market? Mark talked about it earlier, right? 20 years ago, these companies outsourced much of their asset management to the BlackRocks and the PIMCOs and the DoubleLines, et cetera. That was great at generating alpha 20 years ago, but in the subsequent 20 years, all that alpha has been squeezed out of the public markets. Those firms can deliver you really low-cost, attractive beta for that part of your balance sheet, but if you want alpha, you have to do what we've been doing, which is building these direct origination platforms. These companies haven't, and as a result, they're making the right decision to get out. and taking that capital and redeploying it to other parts of their business where they can be profitable. And we've been a huge beneficiary of that. Right? Over the last decade, we've completed 12 sizable transactions, numerous smaller transactions. Every single one of these has been a win-win. A win for the seller. They got out of a business they can no longer operate profitably and are able to redeploy that capital elsewhere in their business. And we picked up some really interesting, really attractive liabilities that we were able to apply our asset mix and enjoy that proper spread income. So now when you look at the growth prospects of the business, this starts to look actually incredibly conservative. We feel incredibly good. Jim Belardi will walk you through in more detail the buildup of this. But in my belief, there's massively more upside to what we've laid out in our base case here. So again, a good time to pause and really take a step back. Right? For the last 10 years, I've been talking to many of you, the equity markets in general, our competitors, about what are we up to in the retirement services space? Why are we spending so much time here? Well, we're hoping that you're starting to understand. Certainly our competitors have started to figure this out over the last couple of years as they've been moving rapidly in this direction. But like the slide says, imitation does not mean replication, right? We've spent 12 long years paying our tuition, really learning this business from the bottom up. We've invested massively in people, in product, the hundreds of people who sit on the Apollo business today focused on insurance and retirement services, the 1,000 people on our direct origination platforms that are sourcing product every day for our retirement services business, the billions of dollars of capital that we've raised for the retirement services business, and now the full alignment upon completion of the merger of Athene and Apollo. This is what it takes to be successful in this industry. Time will tell if some of our competitors have the fortitude and staying power to do what we've done. So before I hand it over to Jim, I just want to leave you with what we're looking at here as opportunity. A huge M&A opportunity in Asia and Europe where there's massive fragmentation and in need of market leadership. A pension group annuity business where we are the #1 player in the US. Europe is just as large, but in the early innings of that game. Again, we intend to show leadership there. And then lastly, on new product side, whether it's insurance wrap solutions, annuities to 401k holders, these are potentially huge markets that, again, Apollo will show leadership in. So with that, thank you, and I'll now turn it over to Jim.